I became what I would say was sort of like a cigarette smoker that couldn't kick the habit. You know, I didn't want to be doing it anymore. I'm not saying it was necessarily wrong. I just felt like I was doing it for the wrong reason.
So your antics on the court obviously been, part of what you've gotten criticized for over the years, but also what's endeared you to tons of fans as well. I want to bring up two moments and get from you what you recall. The quarterfinal at Longwood Cricket Club in Boston. What happened after losing the doubles match?
I got freaked out by this couple or lady that was clapping, you know, and we lost. And then basically I made the mistake. It was a stupid thing to do. I was 19 years old, I think, or something like that. And I went over and I basically spit like in front of her, not on her, and that's still gross and wrong to do it. Just because I was so pissed at this person, and you know, kept going for like 2-3 minutes after the match was over. And then, you know, she said something like, "You can't do that to me." And the husband, I think it was the husband, got up, you know, and threw a punch and hit me. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna, you know. And I basically had the guy where I was just gonna be like, I'd lost it completely, you know, or I felt like I was in the process of losing it. But thankfully, the guy that I was playing doubles with, this guy, was, you know, and people broke it up because I was sort of like bordering on being out of control, I suppose. And that's not me anyway. I'm not like, if people that know me, I don't get into fights and stuff like that. I was just like, that was rather, you know, embarrassing and stupid. Thankfully, it didn't, you know, it could have been worse had I, you know, decided I actually was going to throw a punch.
How did you once spill soda on the King of Sweden?
Well, I didn't really spill it. I actually hit, like, you know, there was stuff on the table and I didn't realize the King of Sweden was in the first row. And so I just wanted to clear the table, so to speak. So that led to, "You've doused the King of Sweden," who apparently loved it. But I probably was looking to get defaulted there a little bit. I was a little bit out of it. You know, I was a little bit fried from, you know, it was towards the end of the year. It's one of those times where you snap.
You went to anger management counseling at one point in your life. How much, if at all, did it help? And then another part of that is, you made the comment before that you also, in the back of your mind, never really wanted to completely give up the anger, right?
I think in some ways, you know, anger can be used in a positive way. If it gets you to try harder, it's a good thing to express yourself. There's times where it goes too far. There's no question about it. I've been to many different people, not all because of anger management. Sometimes, unfortunately, in divorces and things of that nature, and you get to a point where it gets to a stage where something may be court appointed, which I was more than happy to do. Not happy when you're told you have to do it. It's better to do it when you maybe want to do it. But nonetheless, I do believe that overall it's helped.
How so?
Well, if nothing else, you blow off some steam with someone, but you get to hear a different, hopefully a professional perspective, and, you know, sort of make sense of things. So I would and will continue. I don't happen to be at this very moment, although I do believe, especially with what happened with my parents passing away and life in general, that it's not a bad thing for me to try to find someone else. I've probably seen at least 10 people.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, for a guy moved, or a girl this, that, I mean, or I decided to try, or just time went by, you know, different areas. But it's certainly something that's worth trying. And if I'm fortunate enough to be in the position where I can afford it, because God knows they charge, you know, way too much for most people, then I'm lucky enough to be able to hopefully benefit. I'm not saying that every person should, that's up to the person to decide, but for me personally, I think overall it's helped. I mean, it's not like I've become a completely different person because of that. I think life has allowed me to get a perspective where hopefully I got a better handle on things. That doesn't mean I don't make mistakes every day.
Why did you say with the anger, it got to a point later on in your career where you didn't know if you were getting angry because it was expected of you or because you were actually
probably
angry?
Probably because of the kids. Having kids, you're obviously as a father, you're going to be setting a different type of example. They talk about you being a role model. When I had kids, it just seemed like, I don't know, maybe I didn't have the same fire or, desire that I did because I sort of saw things in a different way. So I became what I would say was sort of like a cigarette smoker that couldn't kick the habit. I didn't want to be doing it anymore. I'm not saying it was necessarily wrong. I just felt like I was doing it for the wrong reason. That's all. I'm sure there's a lot of cigarette smokers, they wish they quit, but they couldn't. And they're like, why am I doing this? And they'd be like, good question. And so that sort of felt like that way, because the time could have been spent better some other way.